When it comes to investing in debt as an asset class, fixed deposits has always been the go-to option. The promised rate of return and the fixed tenure and also the comfort of investing in FDs makes it a very lucrative investment option. Debt mutual funds are also very convenient to invest in once you understand the various factors and features of the debt mutual fund that we are going to discuss in this session. Debt mutual fund is a mutual fund which invests in various debt securities. These are generally securities which are listed on the stock exchange. Now, when we hear of debt mutual fund, the one confusing factor is that how do I understand what's the kind of return I'm going to make in it, or for how long should I stay invested in it? So these two questions are answered by YTM and duration. Your YTM is yield to maturity, which is similar to your rate of return from a fixed deposit. It is basically the expected return that you would earn from the debt mutual fund in which you are investing in if you stay invested for the average maturity of the underlying securities. Now, what is the duration of the fund? It is the tenure of the fund. So when you invest in a fixed deposit of say for a year and you make 6% return, similarly when you invest in a short duration fund with a duration of 2.5 years and a YTM of 5.5%, it means that as of today, if you stay invested for 2.5 years in this particular fund, you could earn a return of 5.5%. The only difference is that in debt mutual funds, these numbers are not fixed and could change because the underlying securities in which the debt mutual fund invests in keeps changing. So a debt mutual fund is a pass-through entity in which investors put their money and then the mutual fund eventually goes to the market and buys various debt securities. Now these debt securities are bought and sold over a period of time, and the fund could grow in value and the investors can withdraw their money back in the form of by either selling their units or by opting for the dividend option. So this is how a debt mutual fund works. The securities that the debt mutual fund invests in are generally listed on the stock exchange and are tradable, and hence the value of these securities also keep changing, impacting the NAV of the debt mutual fund, which also changes. So you as an investor make money through debt mutual fund by not earning a fixed rate of return like a fixed deposit, but through change in the NAV value. So your returns from a debt mutual fund are earned by computing the gains based on the price at which you bought your units and the price at which you sold your units. The debt mutual fund generally invests in securities such as government securities and T-bills, taxable and tax-free bonds, corporate bonds and debentures. Government securities are the ones which are issued by Government of India to raise funds of varied time periods, could be of 91 days of 10 plus years. Taxable and tax-free bonds are issued by various government institutions like IRFC, NHAI, NABARD, etc. These are the companies which are majorly owned by Government of India. And the third one, corporate bonds and debentures, are basically bonds which are issued by various listed or unlisted companies, banks and various other institutions. The one common thing in your investments across various debt products is the credibility of the underlying investment. As we discussed in module 1 session 5, that how important it is to check the credibility of the person to whom you are lending your money or the institute in which you are investing your money, because if that goes bust, you may lose your entire money. So your credibility is important not only with corporate deposits and fixed deposits, but also with the underlying investments of the debt mutual fund. When you are investing in debt mutual funds, you must check the quality of the underlying investments. The second thing is that your debt mutual funds are very liquid. You can invest in them and withdraw your money anytime you want. They are highly liquid. except your close-ended fixed maturity plans. The duration of the funds, as we discussed in the beginning, your duration is basically the average maturity of the underlying securities of the fund. Once you've got an understanding of these four factors, let's go and understand the different types of debt mutual fund. As per SEBI's categorization, there are 16 types of debt mutual fund divided into two main categories, which is duration-based and theme-based funds. So your duration-based funds are basically funds which are defined based on the duration of the underlying securities, starting with overnight funds which are for 1 day, ranging up to long duration funds which can go up to 7+ years. Then you have theme-based fund, where the fund manager invests in debt securities based on a particular theme. You have around 6 categories of these funds. We shall be discussing about it in the second half of this session. First, let's focus on the duration-based funds. As you can see here, the duration of the fund increases across the timeline, with overnight fund being for 1 day, liquid fund being for 91 days, ultra short duration fund being for 3 to 6 months, low duration funds being for 6 to 12 months, money market fund for a year, short duration for 1 to 3 years, and then from medium duration to medium to long duration, and long duration being more than 7+ years. So the most important thing to note here is that as your duration of these fund increases, your risk of investing in them increases. What is this risk that is increasing? It is interest rate risk. Yes, there will be a higher interest rate risk where your duration of the fund increases, meaning your long duration funds will be most affected when there is a change in the interest rate set. So higher duration means higher interest rate risk. So let's understand what is this interest rate risk. When your interest rate goes up, debt fund prices fall, and when your interest rate goes down, your debt fund prices increases, and the extent to which they fall and rise is dependent on the duration of the fund. Let's understand this with the help of an example. Interest rate risk is the risk of changes in your debt fund's returns based on the changes in the interest rate. For instance, if you are holding an investment in debt mutual fund with an underlying investments of securities with a interest rate of 7%, and tomorrow the interest rates rises to 9%, then obviously everyone in the market would want to hold investments with a 9% return, right? And the demand for your investments will go down. In such a case, the debt mutual fund's value or the return from this investment will also go down. So where your interest rates has increased, your debt fund prices have fallen. Now let's see a scenario where the same gets reversed. You are holding an investment with an underlying securities of 7% and the interest rate falls down to 5%. Now everyone in the market would want to hold those securities with a 7% return where you are invested. So obviously the demand for your investments will go high, and hence the prices for your investments will go higher, and hence where the interest rate falls down, the debt mutual fund prices increase. So there is an inverse relation between interest rate and the debt funds prices. The next thing is that how does the interest rate risk increases for my long duration funds? Basically, as your duration of the funds increases, the interest rate risk also increases. Let's assume that you are holding debt mutual funds where the underlying securities are giving a return of 7% and the interest rates has increased to 9%. Now where this debt fund is a short duration fund with underlying securities of say 6 months to a year's duration, the fund manager can eventually quickly liquidate those securities, have more money and go and invest that money in higher return generating products. Hence, your risk is low because you don't have to hold on to investments with lower returns for a longer period of time. Now, where you are invested in a long duration fund where the underlying securities have maturities of 3 years, 4 years, and even more than that, it would get difficult for the fund manager to liquidate those securities, have enough money to go and invest in higher return generating products. So basically, you end up holding on to debt mutual funds which are holding on to securities which are generating lower returns for you as compared to the market, and you hold on to them for a longer period of time because you have no option, because that is how the underlying securities are. Hence, the longer duration of the fund, the interest rate risk has a larger impact on that fund versus for a short duration fund. So the thing that you must know when we are talking about interest rate risk is, as the duration increases, your interest rate risk also increases. There will be higher interest rate risk for a longer duration, meaning the value of the fund will be impacted the most when the interest rate changes in case of a long duration fund compared to a short duration fund. Basically, long duration fund means there will be higher interest rate risk. So where the interest rate goes up, your debt fund prices fall, and where your interest rate goes down, debt fund prices increases. So let's check what are the factors that you must know of before you are investing in debt funds. The first one is average maturity, which is basically the weighted average maturity of all the underlying securities. The second one is yield to maturity, average return you would generate if you stay invested for the entire duration of the fund. The third one is modified duration. This is the factor which will help you determine what will be the impact of the interest rate changes on your mutual fund. Basically, if the interest rate moves by 1%, to what extent the fund value will move is determined by modified duration. Let's have a look at a few duration based funds that you must know of and then understand these factors with respect to those funds. We saw earlier that there are approximately 9 kinds of duration based funds from 1 day to 7+ years. But for beginner investors like you need to know 2 duration based funds. One is short duration funds where you invest for less than 3 years, and the other one is long duration funds where you want to invest your money for more than 3 years. And both these duration funds invest across various securities such as corporate bonds, government securities, debentures, certificate of deposits, bank bonds, and hence there will always be a credit risk across each debt mutual fund. So apart from understanding and analyzing interest rate risk, you must always check the credibility of the underlying securities of the debt mutual fund. So let's look at HDFC short-term debt fund. Because it's a short-term debt fund, the risk is moderately low and the return that this fund has generated in the past 1 year is 10.82%. The returns are very good. It is also because in the past 1 year, the interest rates have been falling. So if we had invested in 2019, we would have made good returns from debt funds because the interest rates have been falling, and that would increase your debt fund prices. Now let's have a look at the various factors that we just discussed above to understand them in detail. The number of securities that this fund held was 156. The yield to maturity of this fund is 5.76%. So 5.76% is the average return you would make if the securities were held till the underlying average maturity. Now, what is the average maturity of the fund? It is 3.64 years, which is the weighted average maturity of all the underlying securities. So these values are as on 31st October 2020 and they keep changing every day. Modified duration is 2.73 years. So where there is a 1% change in the interest rate, there will be a 2.73% change in the returns from HDFC short-term debt fund. So if after 31st October 2020, say in the next 6 months, the interest rate falls by another 1%, the returns from HDFC debt fund would increase by 2.73%. So this is how a short duration fund looks like. Let's have a look at a long duration fund or a long term debt fund. For this, we've considered DSP Government Securities Fund. As you can see, the risk of the same is moderate. Obviously, it will be higher than your short duration fund, and the returns that are generated here are 12.10%. Now, when we look at the various factors for this fund, we see that the securities this fund has invested in is only 7. Generally, government securities fund invests in limited number of securities. The yield to maturity is 5.94%. That is the average return you would make if the securities are held till maturity. And what is the average maturity? It is 10.36 years. That is the weighted average maturity of all the underlying securities. So it is possible some could be maturing in the next few months or a year, and hence the average of all of them put together is 10.36 years. And the modified duration is 7.26 years, which means that if there is any change in the interest rate, the impact of it would be 7.26% into the fund. So if the interest rate goes up by 1%, then the return from the fund or the value of the fund will go down by 7.26%, and the vice versa is possible, where the interest rate falls by 1%, then the reverse of that is the value of the fund will go up by 7.26%. So this is the difference between a short duration fund and a long duration fund. You invest your money in a short duration fund where your investment horizon is of up to 3 years. You invest your money in a long duration fund where your investment horizon is of more than 3 years, and you also have a higher risk taking capacity. So you should invest in these funds by analyzing both these risks. Now, how you can do that? There is a risk cube that is available on Value Research website and Morningstar website, and you can check it from there. As you can see on the screen, this cube has both the risks on it. There is a credit quality on the right side and interest rate sensitivity at the bottom. So for HDFC short-term debt fund, your interest rate sensitivity is low because it is a short duration fund, and your credit quality is high. So it is a good fund when it comes to risk. But on your DSP Government Securities Fund, the credit quality is still high, which is a good point. And also because it's a government securities fund, it would invest in government securities, which comes with a sovereign guarantee. But you can see that the interest rate sensitivity is extensive, and hence you know that this is a high risk fund. So you must invest money into this fund only when you're aware of the risk and you know how to manage it. So the next question that comes is, when should you invest in these funds? You should invest in duration based funds by aligning your goals with those funds. Generally, we invest in debt product for our short-term goals, which are less than 3 years. So where you have goals like your yearly travel or getting married in the next 1 or 2 years, you can look at short duration funds, and also the risk in these funds is relatively low. So it would be more convenient for you to invest in them. For your goals more than 3 years, you can consider long duration funds, but in our next module, we will teach you that how you should analyze your goals, which are long duration funds, and invest in them based on your risk taking capacity. So let's park your investments for long term goals for the module 3. Let's move on to the next category of funds, which are theme based funds. Under theme based category, you have banking and PSU debt funds, which majorly invests in banking companies or public sector institutes. Under corporate bond funds, you have mutual funds which majorly invest in corporates. Credit risk debt funds are the funds which makes money by taking higher credit risk. Fixed maturity plans are mutual funds which are close-ended. You can invest in them at the time of NFO. Dynamic debt funds are the debt funds that alter their allocation between long duration bonds and short duration bonds to take advantage of the changing interest rate. So as credit risk fund takes advantage of the underlying credibility of the securities, the dynamic debt fund takes the invest according to the duration of the underlying securities dynamically. Gilt funds are the ones which invest in government securities across various maturities. So you see, there is a common theme that these various debt mutual funds follow. When you are investing in theme-based funds, the one risk that gets highlighted here is credit risk. So as we've already discussed with you, there are credit ratings issued by ICRA and CRISIL, and AAA or AA are higher credit ratings compared to BBB, BB and B. So where you invest your money in a mutual fund with a lower credit rating, you take higher risk and you are compensated for it by getting higher returns. Let's understand through this example. As you can see on the slide, there is a bond A and bond B. In bond A, you have AAA rating and bond B has B plus rating. In bond A, you make 7% returns, whereas in bond B, you are making 10% return. So you can see that with higher risk of a B plus rating, you are getting higher returns. Higher interest is given for lower credit rated underlying securities, because by bearing this higher risk, you are compensated through higher returns. So let's look at the two mutual funds under theme categories which we believe that you beginner investors should know of. First one is banking and PSU funds. As we discussed, 80% of the fund is invested in debt instruments of banks, public sector undertaking or public financial institutions. So clearly it is investing in more higher credit rated companies, because public sector companies come with higher credit rating. Whereas corporate bond funds invest 65% of their funds across corporate bonds across various credit ratings. There's no mention on what kind of credit rating that fund generally invests in. So let's have a look at your SBI banking and PSU fund. You can see that the risk is moderately low and it has generated a return of 9.86%. If you see the investment portfolio of this fund, it's majorly invested in AAA bonds and sovereign bonds. You can see that the yield to maturity of this fund is 5.6%, and some of the major investments are in Government of India bonds, Axis Bank bonds, State Bank of India bonds, and Export and Import Bank of India bonds. So you can see that majority of the investments of this funds are in bank bonds and PSU bonds. When it comes to corporate bond fund, you can see that the risk is moderate and the return is also higher of 11.17%. If you see the holding of this fund, it is also majorly AAA bonds and sovereign bonds. There is also a slight holding of AA bonds over here. You see majority of the holdings are in government bonds, Power Finance Corp, Reliance Industries and Larsen and Toubro. Now, because of the events in the recent past where some high credit rated companies like ILFS and DHFL defaulted, most of the debt mutual funds are investing in high credit rated bonds and are not taking high credit risk. But had you looked at the portfolios a year back, you would have seen a stark contrast between a banking and a PSU fund, corporate bond funds, and even so more in a credit risk fund. Let's look at those risk cubes to understand the risk across these funds. You see that the interest rate sensitivity of both these funds is limited. But you see that in SBI Banking PSU fund, the credit quality is high. But in ABSL corporate bond funds, the credit quality is medium. So clearly the risk of ABSL corporate bond funds is higher as compared to the risk of investing in SBI banking and PSU funds. So you as an investor should invest in banking and PSU funds where your risk taking capacity is lower, and you could consider investing in corporate bond funds on credit risk funds where your risk taking capacity is higher, and you also know how to manage that risk. Apart from corporate bond funds and banking and PSU funds, you also have other riskier options which are available, and you could invest in them if you have higher risk taking capacity and you know how to manage that risk. It's basically how you invest in small cap equity, which has higher risk, but if you know how to manage them and keep a track of it, you get compensated with higher returns. So whether it is your duration based funds or theme based funds, you should invest your money in a debt mutual fund which meets with your investment objectives and matches your risk profile. The taxation of the debt mutual fund is similar to your liquid mutual fund, where the period of holding the fund determines your taxability. Where you hold it for less than 36 months, it's considered as a short-term gain and you're taxed as per your slab rates. The gains are added to your total income. Where you hold these investments for more than 36 months, they are considered as long-term gains and you're taxed at a flat rate of 20% and you get indexation benefits as well. So as we conclude the debt mutual funds, one thing to always remember is that you do not invest in debt funds or debt as an asset class for return maximization. You invest your money in debt for wealth preservation. If you want to create wealth, it will happen through equity and real estate. Debt mutual funds are for wealth preservation and superior taxation as compared to income generating deposits. As we've explained in our module 1, when it comes to fixed deposits, corporate deposits and RBI bonds, you earn interest, but all that interest is taxable and you have to pay taxes on it based on your slab rates. Whereas your investments in debt funds are taxable only when you earn that gain by selling that fund, and even that is reduced further if it is held for more than 3 years. So in that way, you can defer your taxation through debt mutual funds, giving you that extra edge over fixed deposits. So do not get intimidated by all the categories of debt mutual funds that we discussed. Generally, when someone gets started, you invest in liquid funds to begin with, as we saw in that video of Sachin Tendulkar, where liquid mutual funds and overnight mutual funds are like net practice. And then you can move on to investing in short-term debt funds for your short-term goals like travel, probably getting married in the 1 or 2 years. And over a period of time where you get comfortable with taking risk and understanding the interest rate movements, you can move on to other categories of debt funds like long duration funds, government securities fund, corporate bond funds, and so on. So let's quickly revise what are the 3 major learnings you had from this session. Check the credit risk and the interest risk before you invest in debt mutual fund. These 2 risks are prevalent in every single debt mutual fund. Compared to fixed deposits, debt mutual funds are volatile, and it is important to evaluate the same before you invest, because the returns from your debt mutual funds are not fixed and the NAV of the debt mutual funds are changing based on the underlying securities. They have more volatility compared to your fixed deposits, but the credit risk is kind of similar in both the cases. Align your goals duration to the duration of the funds and align your risk taking capacity with the risk of the underlying fund. Once you do those two things, you will get more confident about investing your money in debt mutual funds. Now that we've established a base for you to understand how risk is there in mutual funds and how you invest in it by understanding that, let's move on to the next category of mutual funds, which are riskier than debt mutual funds but also helps you to create wealth. The next session is on equity mutual funds.